My mom threatened to jump off a building 3 times because of me. The first time was right after my SATs. My scores were good enough for the Ivy League, but she climbed up to a rooftop and wouldn't come down until I agreed to apply to a local school. I caved, ended up at some random state college. The second time was after graduation. I'd landed a job in New York, but she showed up on top of my office building and made me quit. So I moved back home, got a job pumping gas for $3,000 a month. The third time, she was up on another rooftop forcing me to marry some woman I'd met exactly once. A woman she approved of. I did what she wanted. After the wedding, that woman cheated on me and cleaned out my bank account. I finally snapped. I jumped off a building myself. When I opened my eyes, I was back to the day my mom first pulled the rooftop stunt. If you apply to any school out of state, I'm jumping. She was already up on the ledge. I looked at her. Then I turned and walked away. Go ahead, don't waste my time. Her face froze. That look, shock mixed with rage, brought it all back. In my past life, after my wife took everything and I found out about the affair, the first thing my mom said was, "That's what you get for not listening to me. You can't even keep a woman in line." Pathetic. That's when it hit me. All those years of giving in had destroyed my entire life. What did you just say? Her voice shook. I headed for the stairs. I said, "If you're gonna jump, hurry up. I've got applications to submit." Julian, her voice went shrill. "Get back here, you ungrateful brat. You want me dead." I stopped and looked back. "Mom, you're the one who climbed up here to threaten suicide. That's on you, not me." I walked down the stairs without looking back at home. I locked myself in the study and pulled up the application portal. My hands were shaking. This time I wasn't settling for some mediocre school. From memory, I typed in every Ivy League school I dreamed about for 3 years. When I hit submit, my eyes burned. I almost cried. This was the first time I'd ever made a choice for myself. I just logged out. When the door flew open, my mom stood there, eyes red and puffy, hair a mess. She must have sprinted down. She was still breathing hard. "You," she gasped, her eyes landing on my computer screen. "Did you submit it?" I nodded and closed my laptop. "Let me see." She lunged for the computer. I blocked her. "Mom, it's done," I said. "Let me see." Her voice cracked, losing control. When I didn't budge, she slammed the power button. The screen lit up. "Password protected." She glared at me. "What's the password?" "I'm not telling you. It's already submitted. Can't change it." "Where did you apply?" Her voice was shaking now. "Out of state." "Is it out of state?" I said nothing. That was answer enough. She screamed, grabbed my keyboard and smashed it on the floor. Plastic shattered everywhere. Keys flew into the corner. "Julian, are you trying to kill me?" She was sobbing now, tears streaming down her face. "I told you to apply locally. Do you not understand English? I raised you by myself. Do you know how hard that was? Now you're grown up and you want to fly away. First it's college, then a job, then a wife, all out of state. You'll forget all about me just like your father. You both want to abandon me." She collapsed on the floor, hitting the ground, wailing. This scene had played out 100 times in my past life. Any time I showed a hint of resistance, she'd cry about how hard her life was, how ungrateful I was. I used to believe I was wrong, that I'd failed her until I jumped off that building. I cut in. "I never said I wouldn't take care of you." She looked up, tear-streaked, like she was grabbing at a lifeline. "Then change your application. You still have 3 days. You can still change it. A local school would be perfect. I could see you all the time. I'm not changing it." My voice was quiet but firm. "Don't try to control my college applications." She froze. She hadn't expected me to say no so directly. I grabbed my laptop, stepped around her, went to my room and locked the door. I could hear her crying outside. Soon she was on the phone sobbing to relatives about what a nightmare I was. I didn't care. I changed my password. I leaned against the headboard and told myself, this time I'm not ruining my life for anyone. Maybe the pain of dying in my past life was too real. I slept like the dead. I dreamed of fragments from before. my hands cracking in the winter cold at the gas station. The emptiness when I found out my wife had stolen everything and run off with another guy. My mom standing in my gutted apartment saying, "Money is just money. Make more next time. I'll find you a better woman." I woke up in a cold sweat. The room was dark except for the computer screen glowing. I heard typing. Someone was at my desk trying to guess my password. I stirred. The light snapped on, blinding me. Before I could react, my mom threw the laptop onto my bed. Her face was gray with fury. She pointed at me. "You changed the password. What's that supposed to mean? You're treating me like a thief." Anger flared up inside me. But when our eyes met, I just felt tired. I'd seen this coming for over 10 years. She'd walked into my room whenever she wanted, looked through my phone whenever she wanted. I even had to tell her my passwords. I sat up, pulled the laptop toward me, and kept my voice calm. "I told you my college applications are my decision. This is my computer. You don't have the right to go through it. I'm your mother. What's yours that I can't see?" Her face flushed, her voice shrill. "Would I hurt you? I just want to see where you applied. Doing this for your own good. Why do you have to go so far away? Stay local. After graduation, I'll get you a nice, stable job. Isn't that better than being out there on your own? I've heard this my whole life, my past life. All that for your own good. Dragged me straight to hell enough." I wasn't loud, but she went quiet. I walked to the desk and picked up a fruit knife lying there. I wasn't pointing it at her, just holding it. "Mom, you said if I don't apply locally, I'm killing you. But have you ever thought about me?" She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. "My grades can get me into the best schools in this country, studying exactly what I want. But you're forcing me to stay here and go to some mediocre school I don't even respect. Mom, that's not looking out for me. That's ruining my life." If anyone's trying to kill someone, the words hung in the air. Her face went blank. For the first time she actually saw me. For the first time she realized her obedient son was full of resentment. Then she exploded. "I'm killing you, Julian. Where's your conscience? I fed you, clothed you. I sacrificed everything for you, and now you're saying I'm forcing you? Fine. I'll die right now. You'll be happy when I'm dead." Ran toward the balcony, dramatic as ever. But I knew she wasn't going to jump. This was just her go-to move to make me give in. When I didn't chase her, she cried louder. Soon there was banging on the wall. The neighbor across the way threw open their window. "What is all this screaming in the middle of the night? Let people sleep. Keep it up and I'm calling the cops." Her crying caught in her throat. She stood there at the balcony edge, stuck her face cycling through red and white. Finally, she shot me a death glare, marched back to her room and slammed the door. Peace at last, but I knew it wasn't over. The next morning she was gone. I didn't think much of it. I got ready and went out to look for a part-time job. College costs money. I had a scholarship, but I didn't want to depend on her for living expenses. More importantly, I needed to start building an escape plan. After running around all afternoon, I got home around 5:30. I walked to my room, grabbed the doorknob, pushed it open. My computer was gone. "Where's my laptop?" "Oh, that you put vegetables in a bowl." Sounding casual, I accidentally knocked over a glass of water and spilled it on the computer. Took it to a repair shop. The guy said he needs to look at it, might take a few days. Something was off. I didn't argue. I went back to my room. I grabbed my phone and pulled up the application portal. Typed in my password. Bright red text. "Password incorrect. Please try again." I tried 3 more times, all wrong. My hands were shaking, barely keeping it together. I walked back out. I held my phone up to her face, fighting to stay calm. "What's going on? What did you actually do with my computer today?" She turned off the faucet, shook off the water, wiped her hands on her apron and looked at me like she'd done nothing wrong. "College applications are a big deal. I had to help you out. You're young. You don't get it. School rankings don't matter. What matters is the major, the job prospects. Today, I pulled some strings, spent $30,000, hired an expert to review your schools and pick your majors, all local. After graduation, you can be a high school teacher, nice and stable. I already changed your application. You're all set. $30,000. She really went all out. I was so mad. My voice shook. Who gave you permission to change my application? Did I ask you to do that? Change it back right now. Tell me the password. She immediately went full drama mode, pointing at me. Tell you so you can change it back to those out-of-state schools? No way. You changed that application. You can forget I'm your mother. I'll pretend I never had a son. He'd said that line 1,000,000 times in my past life. Every time she said it, I'd cry, beg, give in. This time I looked at her, stared for a few seconds, then turned, yanked open the door and ran out. Julian, where are you going? Get back here. Her shouting stayed behind me as the door shut. Once I was out of the building, my phone rang. My mom's sister, Martha. I hung up. It rang again. This time, her brother Brandon. It was blowing up too. Julian, how can you treat your mother this way? Raising you alone was so hard for her. I heard you want to go to college out of state. That's too far. Listen to your mom. Message after message, all telling me to be a good boy. Looking at that stuff, it was almost funny, but I knew I couldn't fight this head on. The application deadline was in 3 days. Even if I found a way to reset the password and change things back, my mom would just make more trouble. I sat in a park pavilion, scrolling through Twitter, frustrated. Then I saw a post from a senior, a guy 1 year ahead of me, showing off his computer programming competition trophy. That gave me an idea. Right after I messaged him, my phone rang again. Aunt Michelle. I answered. Julian, where are you? Michelle sounded panicked. Get to the hospital. Your mom collapsed. 25 years later, Julian stepped out of a Blacktown car in front of a gleaming glass headquarters bearing his name. Hale Technologies. The company he'd started after graduating from an Ivy League university was now worth billions. Reporters waited outside. Mr. Hale, congratulations on being named one of the country's top entrepreneurs. Mr. Hale, your foundation just announced another $100 million scholarship program. Julian smiled politely. I was lucky enough to receive opportunities when I was young. I'd like other students to have the same chance. He never mentioned why. He didn't have to. His life spoke for itself. Meanwhile, his mother lived in a small, run-down nursing home on the edge of town. The wallpaper peeled from the walls. The television barely worked. The air conditioner rattled louder than it cooled. Most weekends, the parking lot was empty. No visitors. No flowers. No family dinners. Just long afternoons staring out the window. The relatives who had once called Julian every day had slowly disappeared. Aunt Martha moved away. Uncle Brandon stopped answering her calls after she repeatedly demanded money. Even the cousins had grown tired of being blamed for everything that went wrong in her life. She'd spent years pushing everyone away the same way she'd pushed Julian. Eventually, there was no one left. One afternoon, a nurse walked in carrying a magazine. Mrs. Hale, isn't this your son? Her mother looked down. There he was, on the cover. America's most influential CEOs. Underneath was another headline. Scholarship program sends 10,000 first-generation students to college. There was a photo of Julian smiling beside students from all over the country. The article mentioned that he had quietly paid off medical debts for strangers, built libraries, funded mental health programs, and donated millions to organizations helping young adults escape abusive family situations. Not once did he mention his own childhood. His mother stared at the page until it blurred with tears. A week later, she asked the nursing home to help contact him. To her surprise, he agreed to visit. He walked into her room wearing a simple suit. No bodyguards, no anger, no hatred, just calm. She looked so much smaller than he remembered. Her hair had turned white. Her hands trembled. Julian, he nodded. Mom, she burst into tears. I was wrong. He said nothing. I thought, if I kept you close, I wouldn't be alone. She laughed bitterly through her tears. And now, she looked around the shabby room. I'm alone anyway. Silence filled the room. Finally she whispered, Can you forgive me? Julian looked out the window for a long moment. I forgave you years ago. Hope flickered across her face. But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Her smile faded. You spent years teaching me that love meant obedience. I spent years learning it didn't. He stood. I'll make sure your bills are paid. She looked up. You won't take me home? Julian gently shook his head. No. The single word carried no cruelty, only certainty. I'll make sure you're safe. I'll make sure you're cared for. But I'm not going to build my life around your choices again. A tear rolled down her cheek. She understood. For the first time, there would be no argument that changed his mind. No guilt. No threats. No rooftop. Julian left an envelope with the administrator that covered every expense for the rest of her life, along with enough money to ensure she would always receive proper care. He never let her go hungry. He never let her be neglected. But he also never surrendered the life he had fought so hard to reclaim. As he walked out of the nursing home, he took one last look at the building. In his first life, he had sacrificed his future trying to save someone who refused to change. In his second life, he saved himself. And that made all the difference.